Hey, welcome back to another Just 5 Mins. Okay, so what have we got this time around? Well, it's a collection of two or three applications that I've stumbled across from a company called Dev Dojo. I'll put the links below, of course. And one of them, I saw a couple of people sort of mentioning this. It's about Tailwind CSS, but it's a graphic design builder, page creator, site builder, and design library. So Tailwind CSS, for those who don't know what it is, I've been using Bootstrap CSS for a long time. You know, there's all those CSS sort of frameworks around back in the day, and Bootstrap was, I think, originally when it was Twitter, I think it was that did develop that. I think it's still been managed and still got different updates. But Tailwind CSS came out and it was a bit different because it and I didn't really get this until very late after it had been released, as usual, a little bit slow on the uptake. But the idea is you end up with this big CSS sort of setup in your dev environment, but when you use certain classes out of the Tailwind CSS library, when you run your project, it does not, it's definitely not compiling, but it does a transpiling sort of operation where it will only then copy in the classes that you actually need. So you do end up with, see, because when I first looked at it, I thought, wow, well, you've got this, why is it different to Bootstrap? You know, but only when I then looked into it a bit deeper. When you then publish your website and all the rest of it, you've only got the CSS classes that are needed. You don't get everything, like I suppose with Bootstrap. I don't know now because I haven't looked in recent times. Anyway, but it's still, you know, you need to be in your editor and you need to be, you know, writing CSS and HTML and stuff like that. And of course, you know, like WordPress, and especially with things like Elementor in WordPress, where you've got page builders. Well, I'd stumbled across this one. It's from Dev Dojo. They've got a few products, but one of them is called Tails, and it's essentially a page creator, site builder, and design library that uses Tailwind CSS. Okay, and it looks really quite interesting. I've had a little bit of a play. But I also then stumbled across another one. I thought, well, what's the difference then? You know, what's the difference? Because they've got another product called Pines. Okay, and that's an interesting one as well because it uses, and I've heard the name a couple of times over the last year, I think. It uses another very minimal JavaScript framework called Alpine. Okay, and it's basically what Pines is, the Dev Dojo guys have done, is glue together, if you like, Alpine JS and Tailwind to make, again, it's like, it's a library of animations, sliders, tooltips, all those sorts of lovely things. So you can build a really nice looking site, and they've got some really good, very swishy looking animations for your website, and very, very nice, very fluid. I'll put the links below. But Alpine JS is your new lightweight JavaScript framework. Okay, and it is minimal. It basically, I think it says somewhere where, think of it like jQuery for the modern web, basically. So, you know, I've done a bit of Vue.js. I did a lot of Angular stuff ages ago. And to be honest, I've sort of dropped off those. Not for any, you know, real sort of, oh, I don't like this or anything. It's just that there's a lot of ceremony and a lot of startup to get going with that side of things. Whereas something like Alpine JS, you've literally got a script tag and away you go. And it really literally is. There's 15 attributes, 6 properties and 2 methods for the whole library. But yet from that library, it manages to do data binding. You know, it's got all the usual things, obviously, with those, you know, amount of attributes, properties and methods. It's not an extensive thing like Vue or Angular, but But for the basic sort of stuff that you do, or even more than basic stuff in HTML, it probably covers most of the stuff that people want to do. It's got model synchronization for data. You can do for loops and if conditions and, you know, init states and all this type of stuff, show or not show. Anyway, but basically that's what Pines is. They've glued together Alpine.js and Tailwind to make this lovely blend, really, of using Tailwind CSS, but a really nice, slick, animated type website. Not just animated, you know, you still got, you know, your normal sort of input boxes, buttons and things like that, but really quite nice. Very slick. I'm glad I came across that. I'm going to have a go with the Tails side of things, because that's like a page builder that, as I say, looks really nice, and it uses Tailwind CSS, so it's very lightweight. But anyway, that's what I've got for this time around. So take care as usual, and we'll catch you on the next one.